Finally, we are back.
I wanna grow Africa. I think Africa there's
Here we
a
go.
lot of opportunities within Africa
Yeah.
that have gone over people's heads.
Oof.
In Nigeria especially, there is so much money to be made. Basedynamics.com is the website for Base Dynamics. We're a machine monitoring company, so we can monitor your production machines, tell you how efficient the machines are, your running time, your downtime, who the operator is. Yeah, sort of.
How's it, guys? Welcome to another episode on the Reality Shift. Finally, we are back at the Central Point physical interview, and I'm just so grateful to just have this opportunity once again to bring persons onto the show and have genuine, authentic conversations in their various fields. And today we are blessed to have the co-founder of Bayes Dynamics, Sivesh Chetty.
How's
What's up, brother? And how are you?
good and you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Thank you so much for coming out. Early on, we chopped it up a bit. We
Yeah.
just had a conversation about, you and, the dynamics within the field that you're in. I think first and foremost, I just want to start off by just talk to us about yourself. The way that you grew up. Your journey into the space that you're in right now, and yeah, just start with that.
Okay, so I went to high school at Westfield Boys, and so when I was at Westfield Boys, we had a set subjects from grade 8, and then only from grade 9 we were allowed to choose our specified fields that we were going to go into. So when in grade 8 and grade 9 we had art and technical drawings that I suffered in. Yes, I got 15% for art and I got 20% for TD. I was ridiculously bad at those two. I just couldn't see shapes in my head. So, and then that's where I learned about computers and games and how good I am at playing games and how much fun I had. And I took a very good interest in computers.
And dumbbells as well.
And yeah, in grade 11 I started gymming.
Okay,
Yeah. So that's where I started my interest into computers. And so in grade 10, I picked information technology as a subject. That's when it first started in Westfield Boys, in my year. And a person called Graham van Rensburg was our teacher. He was very good. And he inspired me to do computer science at UKZN.
Yeah.
So from then on, it was been my journey was set in stone.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it from Westfield Boys.
Yeah.
He taught us programming and how a computer works, and yeah.
And so I, basically, without knowing, you set yourself up for future-proofing yourself. Literally. So I'm just going to read a list of, I think it's the World Economic Forum, and it talks about the skills that are going to be the most valuable in the next and near future. So it says analytical thinking and innovation, active learning, learning strategies, complex problem solving, critical thinking and analysis, creative originality and initiative, leadership, social influence, technology usage, monitoring and control, technology usage, monitoring control, technology design and programming, resilience, stress tolerance, flexibility. And so those are the skills that are going to be the most valuable in the near future. And so one of them, as you said, information technology, programming. Let's talk about that space. Let's talk about you as a co-founder and how you became the co-founder at Bayes Dynamics.
So at Westfield Boys, there was a friend of mine called Tristan Gwyn.
Yeah.
And he studied with me throughout high school and university. We became close in university, and his dad, Russell, he's a co-owner of National Packaging Systems, and he wanted me to develop an app for his company, and then he found a use for me as a machine monitoring guy,
Yeah.
and he wanted me to develop an app that could monitor machines in Nigeria, that could collect the production data and email it off to the relevant people. And then he saw that as an opportunity, and then we started a business from there.
Yeah.
So that's how we started, and we grew and grew and grew, and now we're
So
here.
yeah. So how long have you
We started in 2018,
okay.
and I met Russell in the end of 2015. So we've been together for 5 years.
Okay. So let's talk about the dynamics right now within that space. How has specifically the lockdown and COVID-19 attributed to, especially this digitally driven, the business, and how has it affected you guys, and how has it, positively, negatively attributed to your growth? And what are the challenges that you've experienced in this regard?
It's it's put a damper on things.
Yeah.
It got a bit slow during the COVID months,
Yeah.
but it's picking up again. It's definitely picking up again, and it was tough getting clients and talking to people during the COVID times because we were all locked down. I couldn't have conversations, but Zoom and digital meetings was making it easier for us to interact.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Yeah.
it was tough. The
Yeah.
COVID times were tough.
So I also want to talk about uh, let's talk about the importance of information technology within the school systems, and how really integrating that into the school systems is going to set up the next generation of youth to become relevant, to create value, and of course to become employed individuals within the economy that we have. So yeah.
So computers is always going to be prevalent from now till forever. It's so starting young is always going to be the best solution. So starting from school is always important. Like what I started from school. So when they first introduced information technology, that's where I learned to code and started. That's where I started,
Yeah.
and it's always
So what
helped.
languages did you start coding?
Java.
Okay.
So
And
they
then
taught us
how did
Java
you
and
and what did
school.
you progress into from?
C++,
Okay.
C Sharp, Python. We learned everything at university.
Okay, so let's
But-
break those down and the functionality of those different languages and how you use them within the constructing.
So there's something called the syntax. That's the language structure of the language. That's different for each language, but the logic stays the same throughout. So uh, syntax is like the semicolons, the stop, the full stops in the language.
Yeah.
So how can I explain it? In Java, there's semicolons at the end of every statement,
Yeah.
and in Python, there's no semicolons. It's
Yeah.
just a next line to define when to step into the next line.
Okay, so
code.
what are the different languages used for?
You could use any language for anything. It doesn't matter. It's what you're most comfortable with.
Okay.
But there's a lot of depth that you'd have to understand when picking a language for a specific purpose.
So like HTML, we know that
That's
it's for the web.
web development.
Okay.
Because your browser reads HTML and renders images using HTML.
Yeah.
So a server just pops your HTML code into your browser, and your browser renders
Yeah.
HTML.
Yeah.
But in a computer application like a game, you would want something like C++, because C++ is a very well memory managed language
Okay.
that is very quick and executes code efficiently on your PC, compared to something like Java, which uses a virtual machine to render your graphics or whatever. And do the calculations. So there's a lot of overheads from Java compared to C++. So if that makes
That makes complete sense. So I think also the follow-up question was, how would you know? Let's say someone is building, just web application, and how would you know when is the right time to discern between drop and click type of web applications and something that is complex and more something that requires something that for scale in that regard? How do you?
so if you would want a basic, simple website for a startup company that you just then you would use a drag and drop. But if you building something more complex that you can't find any solutions for already, then you would build it yourself. You'd build it from the ground
I think
up.
that's a key that you can't find solutions for already.
Yeah.
It makes complete sense in that regard. Yeah.
So, for my example, I built our code base from scratch for base dynamics.
Okay.
So I couldn't find. I wasn't even trying to look for a solution available out there already. I wanted to be flexible for a customer to come to us and say, I want this, I want that, and I'll be able to program the solution and make it very flexible for us. So a drag and drop solution would not be very flexible to your needs. You would have to conform to the solution rather than you conforming,
Creating.
creating your own solution.
Yeah. So let's talk about the youth, and let's talk about making decisions in terms of information technology. How would you go about deciding what part of this field that you would want to dive into? What was your procedure in deciding, okay, this is what I wanted to do?
I was always passionate about computers, so I always wanted to do something related to computers. But to convince someone to go into computers is difficult because they would have their own journey they want to follow, I guess. But there's a lot of money in computers. That's one factor that people,
I think we want to touch on that, like the opportunities within information technology. We're going to touch on that after.
There's two different fields. There's information technology and there's computer science.
Okay.
So there's theory behind computers, and then there's information technology, which is databases, networking, and things that make computers work.
Yeah.
So there's two different fields when it comes to IT and computer science.
Okay.
So I studied computer science, and I prefer computer science over information technology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's dissect that, and let's say what are the opportunities in computer science and in information technology? What is the spectrum, and what can persons get into in that regard if looking to pursue a career path or start a business within that regard?
So, as an information technologist, that they would be mainly dealing with databases, networking, setting up computer systems for companies, dealing with the infrastructure and things like that. As a computer scientist, you'd be a software engineer, developing software for companies, and the analyzing your process to develop software that meets your requirements. So, and there's a lot of thinking and analysis that goes into designing software.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Yeah. And I think I also want to touch on, because now the value chain within, suppose, online businesses is completely different to that of But you said that you build systems for like operating systems and whatnot. So your core business is not necessarily completely online. It's completely
No, it's not.
yeah,
It's there's also a lot of face-to-face contact
yeah, okay,
and meeting with the customer
yeah,
and getting analyzing the customer's needs.
yeah. I suppose, but that's standard.
Yeah.
But I think what I'm trying to get at is like there's a difference. Like you know how the supply chain, how there's transport. You have to get the goods to the supplier.
Oh,
to
the supply
to
chain.
all, yes, that kind of thing. There's none of that when it comes to the
The-
digital space, and
Well,
and the scalability is a lot quicker than that kind of business.
there's still a massive supply chain that would need to be put together in a digital
let's
space.
dive into it. Let's dive into it.
So, if as an online business, you would have to think about a warehouse where you're going to store your products, how are you going to deliver those products to the customer as an online business. You would also have to think about how are you going to your uptime of your website, your servers. There's a massive. How are you going to receive payments? Your payments platform.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot that you have to think about in a digital market.
Yeah.
It's the supply chain is almost the same as a manufacturing company.
Okay.
So there's still raw materials. There's still putting it into a product. There's still delivering that product to a customer. There's
Yeah. Now, I told you when I'm frowning, I'm learning. Like, and I've been frowning for a very long time. So, okay. So I think so. We've dived into that. So let's talk about yourself and your vision. Like, what are you looking to do? Okay, in the near future or in the future, what are you looking to accomplish? Through the love of computer science, information technology in this space. What are you looking to?
yeah, that's a very open-ended question.
Yeah,
I
well,
want
that's
to be like Elon Musk. Who doesn't want to be like Elon Musk?
Let's dive into it. Let's talk. Let's talk about what is the possibilities. What steps are you taking? What are you that kind of thing. So
I want to grow Africa. I think there's a lot of opportunities within Africa
Yeah.
that have gone over people's heads.
Oof.
In Nigeria especially, there is so much money to be made. And there's massive opportunities.
So I suppose it's Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa.
There's also
the pillars of
Zambia, there's Tanzania,
Yes,
there's
Tanzania, yes.
Botswana, there's Namibia, there's the DRC. Because nobody wants to go there. Nobody wants to go there, and that's why there's such a big hole, a big void that technology can fill.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's lots of money.
I think Akon said that there's no other place that you can build a Fortune 500 company in 5 years in Africa.
100%, because people just want stuff that they can't get anywhere else,
Exactly.
and nobody wants to go there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I've been to Nigeria. It's not a bad place at all. It's a very nice place. The people are very nice, and it's easy. It's nice.
So would you say, from a digital vantage and an online vantage, it's the best a market to approach?
100%, it's the best market to approach.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of smart people in Africa.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
1000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of smart people in Africa. So it is a growth point that I would like to get into.
Okay, so for Abi's Dynamics, what is the vision in terms of expansion, in terms of in that regard?
I think it's still gonna be a while, but I'm not sure. like, I want to get big.
Yeah.
I want to get some employees, get
Yeah.
to expand a bit, more clients.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's my vision. But it takes some time.
Yeah.
It always takes time.
Mm.
But yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the code base is developed. We've done quite well. We want to get into the AI field.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Like, I wanted to jump into. I'm a futurist. Like, first and foremost, I just needed to put that out there. So let's dive into that world. Let's dive into what is the world gonna look like. Let's talk about AI. Let's talk about GM. Let's talk about just everything within that space, and what's happening currently. Gene editing, all of these kinds of things.
AI, artificial intelligence. There's a lot of different fields within AI. There's image processing. There's
Yeah.
machine learning. There's robotics.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of fields within AI.
Yeah.
But we as humans have to program that AI to get it to work. So it's gonna take some time, and there's data that needs to be inputted for us to train the machine learning models. So yeah, it's gonna take some time for us to develop a complete AI person that you can look at and talk to.
Well, let me just add on to that. Deepak Chopra just recently opened the testing phase for his AI that he recently created. So like he's looking to still do his work when he's gone. So he was talking about how he's been talking to his AI.
That's called natural language processing.
Okay.
So that's also a field of AI.
Oh, okay.
So then, as computers can understand human language and understand, break down a sentence and understand its given context, and because our human language has to be understood within a context, and you can't just speak about random things randomly.
Yeah.
It will just be chaos.
Yeah.
So for a computer to understand its context and the grammar and the language, it's a lot, and we have to teach it to think like a human. It's complex, yeah.
Jeez.
So we also have to map. So what we're trying to do to get AI to behave like a normal human being is map the human brain into something a computer can understand. So yeah, that takes some time and a lot of understanding.
Yeah.
So
Oh man, and is there any other fields within that space that you'd like to talk about or that you'd like to expand upon that you have an interest in?
I am not an expert in any of these AI fields. I am not an expert in any of these.
I'm just interested in like VR and seeing where VR is also going in the next couple of.
VR is cool.
Yeah.
VR games are cool as well. Yeah. So, it's been a tough. When did the first VR headset come out? Like 2013 or something?
Yeah.
With Oculus.
Yeah.
And then
the problem is consumer behavior at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think for the longest of time we've had technology that's ready. Like for example, there's Tesla. There's all of these companies that's there that are here, but now it's about the transition of coming and using that particular product, and it takes some time for that integration to actually happen. Like I don't know, I heard somewhere like online dating was ready in 1995, but people only started using it in like properly in 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So I think that's the kind of what we have to factor in when we're thinking about technology, and how it takes time for the psyche of the human consciousness to actually get into these particular fields.
Yeah. Well, back in '95 there was no chatbots or bots that we could date as well.
Yeah.
So I'd rather be online dating back then, because you won't get any fake people that you're trying to date.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Of
talking
course.
about.
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah. Oh, catfishing, whatnot.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
how it is. Yeah.
Compared to these times. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. Oh man. And but yeah, man. And I think this has been really awesome. I think we've dived into a hell of a lot. And I think there's so much more that I'd like to actually dive into and talk about. But I think we pretty much covered a lot, though. Yeah. Okay. So, what would you like to expand upon? Yeah.
The education system, maybe.
Okay. Let's talk about the education system. Yeah.
I think education is very important for our youth,
Yeah.
and if we educate our students properly, but there's a lot of factors to get a student educated.
Okay. Let's dive into that.
So people from poor backgrounds, you would
Yeah.
have to give them food, you have to give them transport, you have to give them a good education.
Yeah.
For them to have a good education, there's a lot of factors that you would need to provide a good education.
Yeah.
And if you provide a good education, that learner would be interested to learn more, and that will develop his his want to learn more about cell phones, how a cell phone is made,
Yeah.
how a PC is made.
Yeah.
And it's if we improve our education system, it's
I think one thing I wanted to actually touch on is that a lot of people don't know about the opportunities within let's say cybersecurity or information technology or computer science. There's this collective consciousness and school of thought that you have to be a lawyer, a doctor, these kinds of things, when these are all old institutional kind of qualifications that some of them are still relevant now. Lawyers are going to be obsolete very, very soon. But as I read out the list, those are the type of skills that we're going to be needing in order to exist in the future. So I feel like there's a gap, in access to these opportunities for majority. And what do you have to say on that?
there is a big gap in access because many students don't have access to computers. Many students don't have access to phones and tablets and these type of things. So if more people get involved in providing phones and computers, and there's not a lot of corruption. If we reduce corruption and we spend more on our education system, more people will be interested in these types of things, and we'll be able to develop AI faster and better. And if we have a more collective group of people developing this technology, if that makes
no, it makes absolute sense. There's a lot, and
if we stop fighting with each other too.
Oh jeez,
if you start just agreeing with people and agreeing with each other and loving each other, the world would be such a better place.
And I think it also comes down to the individual. It comes down to you making a conscious decision and a conscious choice to be that change in the world that you want to see.
100%.
So I think that's where we're gonna end it off. Definitely. But thank you so much for coming on to the Reality Shift, and I'm sure the viewers really appreciate the information that you've shared. Where can people find you on socials, the website, and just engage with them if anybody wants to get in contact with you and do business as well?
BaseDynamics.com, BaseDyn.com is the website for Base Dynamics. We're a machine monitoring company, so we can monitor your production machines, tell you how efficient your machines are, your running time, your downtime, who the operator is, all of those things. And my email is Sivesh, Sivesh, @basedyn.com.
100%. And socials?
I don't have Facebook. Don't worry about Instagram.
No, but LinkedIn. If anybody wants to connect with you.
Sivesh on LinkedIn. Sivesh Chetty on LinkedIn.
100%. And ladies and gentlemen, co-founder of Base Dynamics. It's an absolute honor to have you on the show, my brother.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that we're going to do this again,
Yeah.
maybe 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line when we're both Elon Musks.
100% when we all Elon Musk, 100%.
Oh man, cheers guys. Please
Cheers.
do like, comment, subscribe at The Reality Shift SA on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and at Leeds and Bolt on all of those platforms. And yeah, goodbye for now.
Cheers.